So the serviceberries are ripening. Let's give one a try. So here's a really nice ripe one. Let's see how it tastes. First you get a little bit of sweetness. And then as soon as you start chewing those seeds, you get apple and almond. Like really nice almond flavor. I don't get blueberry. Some people say it's a mix of almond and blueberry. I get almond and apple. Really good. Have to chew the seeds though. If you just eat the flesh and spit the seeds out, it doesn't taste like anything. But that is really good. Oh, and when I say almonds, I mean the concentrated flavor like almond extract or marzipan or amaretto. If I pull the fruit apart a little bit, you can see it bears striking resemblance to a tiny apple. And I don't know how many of these little seeds you can eat, because I would be a little concerned eating a ton of them, because, you know, if it tastes like almonds and looks like an apple seed, it might have a little bit of cyanide in it, so I wouldn't eat a whole bucket of them. But the body's pretty decent at dealing with those type of chemicals, and it gets rid of them pretty quickly, and they tend to be in a lot of things. So I never heard of any issues with people eating these, but I wouldn't eat buckets of the stuff. Overall, I'm not too worried. People have been eating serviceberry as a food source in the way I just did for centuries. So I've waited about 45 minutes, little over, which is about the time scale I was able to find that amygdalin would start having the toxic effect, amygdalin being the compound that actually breaks down into cyanide. And I'm not feeling anything. I had about 4 to 5 berries chewing the seeds in the beginning and then stopped. And that sort of tasting amount is definitely safe in my opinion. You could probably go up to a dozen, but I wouldn't push too much before waiting that 45-minute period, because during that period you could eat a lot of them before feeling the effects, and that would cause some issues if you were to eat too many before you really realized how much of an effect the amygdalin was having on your body. I'm relatively sure most of this is just being overly cautious, but again, it's always best to err on the side of caution whenever dealing with wild plants that may have a poisonous component, because you never know how much is in each individual berry. Plants will differ depending on growing conditions and genetics. In general, it's always best to treat stuff like this as you would, say, alcohol. Don't have too much at once, and don't have too much before you understand how it's going to affect you and your body. I mean, if you wanted to go your life swearing off foods that are toxic in high doses, you'd have to swear off nutmeg, Earl Grey tea, and pretty much all dark leafy greens that had oxalic acid in them. In fact, if you look what's growing right underneath this serviceberry plant, I'd be much more concerned about eating too much of this wood sorrel and getting kidney stones than eating too much serviceberry and getting a little nauseous and having a headache. Basically, these things are delicious, and I do highly suggest you give them a try, but as with a lot of foods, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Anyway, I do hope you've learned something, enjoyed, and as always, I wish you the best. Till next time.